it's an extraordinary turn of events, Tories supporting nationalisation. And I think what we've seen is a wholesale expansion of the state, starting with Tony Blair. He launched, in my opinion, the nanny state. Boris Johnson took it to wet nurse status with his lockdowns and furlough schemes and so on. And this seems to be a natural progression in the same direction. People seeing a problem, not willing to stand on their own 2 feet to face the problem, and looking to government to sort it out.
How can people stand on their own 2 feet to solve the problem? There's only so much we can do other than turn the heating off.
Well, I'll come to that, but I think what we need in our economy is less state intervention, not more. I think Liz Truss's instinct to cut VAT on domestic fuel, to cut green taxes on domestic fuel, that's the right instinct. Cut taxes and allow people to have more money in their pockets so they can make the decisions they need to make to face the crisis. But the reality of the situation is this. No amount of government intervention, whether you take a print money and hand it out to the public approach or you take a tax-cutting approach, is going to solve this enormous problem that has effectively been created, as I said at the beginning, from too much government interference in the first place. One thing I would add to the tax cuts is to really make this a private sector problem rather than a public sector one, to put the ball firmly back in the court of the private sector, is to invite the private sector, or indeed insist that the private sector match the government's tax cuts pound for pound. So the energy companies match the government tax cuts pound for pound. Now, I estimate that tax cuts equate to about 15% of what your fuel bill will be this winter. And if you can get the energy companies to make a similar reduction, you actually get an immediate 30% reduction in your fuel bills. That is going to stress the balance sheets of energy companies. They're going to be in real trouble. But they're in the private sector. They have ways, means, and so on to plan their way to navigate out of the problem that we would then create for them. What we mustn't do is nationalise them and obviate the pressure that they would otherwise feel to use private sector solutions to address the problem.
Yeah,